Hello, darling. I'm so glad you could make it. I was just reviewing some documents, the kind that keep people up at night and keep me in the best designer suits. Welcome to the premiere of the Deal Room Tanzania. We aren't here to discuss potential or synergy. We're here to talk about the Shark Tank that is the boardroom. And today, we're starting with a cautionary tale for anyone who thinks they're safe just because their name is on a check. The topic: the mistake that hands over your company. I've been sourcing Tanzli, the legal playground where secrets go to be published, and I found a delicious little disaster. Mary Deogracious Magubo and the Registrar of Companies 2024. The case: the ghost in the boardroom. Here is the setup. A husband and wife run a company. The husband holds the majority. They both sit on the board, and everything is, well, domestic bliss until it isn't. The husband passes away. The wife is appointed as the administratrix of his estate. She assumes she can just walk into the boardroom, sit in his chair, and start voting. She was wrong, very, very wrong. The High Court Commercial Division had to remind everyone of a distinction that most CEOs forget until it's too late. The difference between a shareholder and a member. So, why you just lost your vote? The error is here. The wife thought being the administratrix or the person in charge of the dead husband's shares meant she was automatically a member of the company. In reality, in Tanzania, if you own every single share in a company and still you have zero right to vote or manage it. And the rule is this: you only become a member when your name is entered into the register of members. Until that happens, you're just an investor sitting in the lobby with a pile of paper. So the crisis: because she wasn't a member, she couldn't form a quorum, she couldn't hold a meeting, and she couldn't appoint new directors. The company was effectively paralyzed, frozen in time, while the vultures circled. Business isn't about who has the most money, it's about who understands the rules. I'm your host, and this is the Deal Room. Today, we are looking at a mistake so simple it's almost poetic. You spent 20 years building an empire, you leave it to your heirs, and then the law hands them the keys to the door that's been welded shut. In the case of Magubo and Registrar of Companies, we've learned that in Tanzania, being a shareholder is likely being invited to a party, but being a member is being on the guest list at the door. So if your name isn't on the register of members, you don't exist. You have the investment interest, but you have no legal power. Imagine it. You think you own the company, but you can't even vote to change the light bulbs because the court says you haven't applied to be a member yet. The lesson of the Deal Room: succession planning isn't just about a will, it's about your articles of association. If your paperwork doesn't account for the transmission of shares, not just the ownership, but the membership, your company becomes a ship without a captain the second someone's heart stops beating. Don't be the person who loses the empire because they forgot to update a ledger. It's tacky, it's amateur, and quite frankly, it's beneath you. Next time, we'll talk about how to protect your assets from people who think they're smarter than they are. And until then, Keep your friends close and your registrar closer. That's all for today. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a merger to finish and a reputation to maintain.